Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Arab Cybersecurity Conference 2020. So, first things first, question. When was the last time you have climbed up to the top of the pyramid of pain? So, mostly, your endpoint detection and response tool, your AV next gen, whatever it is, usually most of them are just signature based and IOC based. They don't care much really on the behavioral base. Yes, they keep on telling us that they are MITRE ATT&CK framework based and tested. But in reality, why there is such things that are happening that there are so many breaches happening across the globe, right? Not just on industrial control system, not just on hospitals, but in so many IT or enterprise companies. So without further ado, let me share to you, okay, my presentation for today. So you see these numbers, there's so many of them, right? Cybersecurity worldwide spending, how much, it's 133.7 billion US dollars. That's what the Gartner says in 2022. So the data breach exposure, that's the billion records in the second quarter of 2019 according to Riskbase. The breaches were financially and espionage motivation according to Verizon's. Hackers, they're just 39 seconds. Just give them 39 seconds average. They're 2,244 times a day according to the Okay. Average month to identify a breach. 2019, it's 7 months. You see, imagine that you have been breached for a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months, but 7 months, right? That is so many, how much data that has already been exfiltrated in your environment without knowing it. So, there are 3.92 billions. That is the cost of data breach as of 2019. And for sure, 2020, that is more expensive than last year. So, how many percent does an organization don't believe in AV software according to the Ponemon survey? 69%, right? 69%, it's because, they are looking into so far, right? On across, even outside of the earth. But actually, it's supposed to be a combination of, yes, signature based and next generation EPP or EDR solution. Now, again, average cost of ransomware, how much? There's a breach on different level: cyber attack, hacking, DDoS attack. But how much for the ransomware itself? It's $133K, right? And the breaches involved in malware is 28% according to Verizon. And last but not the least, 92% of malware delivered via phishing email. So there's not much of a sophistication of attack vectors. However, why is it that our email gateway protection, something's wrong, which we don't know what really is wrong, why it's, but we know that the attack vector, but we don't know, or how is it our protection, the tools that we have is keep on bypassing, right? That is the problem that we have. So in threat hunting, ladies and gentlemen, it's not for the weak. It's not for people would just go to the office from, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., 8 hours a day. No. If that's what you think on the cybersecurity job, that you should not be on this field. Sorry, but this is cybersecurity is for, strong people who are more have energy, motivations, not just intelligence, right? The right people, the right process for the right technology. Now, let's go on with a quantum leap to the top of the pyramid of pain. So, before, no, I'm sure you already heard about myself, and I'm not be spending too much of this one. So now, we know what is the pyramid of pain, right? And why is it so important for us to climb up on the top of the pyramid of pain, which is the tactics, techniques, and procedure? It's because for threat hunting, in cyber threat intelligence, there are different types of intelligence, as we know. So the top of the pyramid of pain is more of an operational and strategical, right? Where the bottom, which is the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, are just more of a tactical and technical intelligence, which is, if we have this cyber intelligence platform, probably we could just integrate the API key to the SOAR to the SIM, right, for just detection, and let your SOC do the triaging. But that's not the problem. That's not, that's some boring stuff. Let's make our SOC and incident responders and threat hunters to the next level, which is the next generation SOC. Now, why is it important that we should be dealing with a TTP, right? Not with just those hashes, IP address, URLs, pickups, and those tools that they're using. TTPs is very important. It's because knowing your enemy makes sense, makes a big it's a game changer. Why? Let's say, for example, you're going to a let's say, for example, basketball, right? So usually you don't go in the court just to first see them, but actually you usually this let's say, for example, NBA players, they watch their opponents, how they play, what's their tactics, techniques, and what's their their attack vectors. Are they good in slam dunk? Are they good in passing the ball? Are they good in tricks, something like that? So it's the same in cybersecurity. Knowing your enemy, knowing their attack vectors, their tactics, techniques, and procedure, their sophistication, where they come from, what's their motivation. It's very important, right? So different APTs, advanced persistent threats from different countries, from different regions, have different styles, right? So that is very important. That is why today I want you to climb up with me on the top of the pyramid of pain with a quantum leap. All right. So now we have two formulas. Okay, one is I would say it's already known. There's not much of reinventing the wheel. It's just that probably we should use it on more clever way. On let's burn our brain onto more artistic and more imaginable. With defenders, threat hunters should think like hackers, like adversaries that we have. If not, if you're just a typical defenders, just passing the certification exams, having master's degree, PhD degree, and you call yourselves defenders. Sorry to say, but that's not gonna work in cybersecurity as really as a blue team or threat hunter. I'm not gonna talk too much about this because this is something that you could Google or something. But however, there is something that you should know. Okay, use a different tools that could help you. One, knowing the behavior, and every adversaries have their own patterns, that they have their own signature, just like Picasso, Michelangelo, Donatello, right? Leonardo, they have their own patterns, how they draw, how they paint. So what I'm trying to say is look for that signature. However, if you just wanted to, a common, if you formulate your own YARA rule, okay, I would say, just don't use, no long, you don't even, need to use this strings here. It's just a fancy. That's most of the YARA rules that you would see. They have strings, they have meta, WMI. It doesn't matter in threat hunting. You should focus most on the modules. Okay. The way I do threat hunting: import math, import PE, portable executable files. These two is very important, right? Put it, and then go to the condition right away, right? Of course, rule, imports, and then condition. So, I would say this here does not gonna work on Word, Excel, PowerPoint, ISO image, those kind of different, not portable executable file, because this is an MZ, right? If you still remember the hex, if you are doing a malware analysis, reverse engineering, this is an hex, meaning it's an executable file. But that's why you should be using OR, right? And then another one is you should put, once you use, let's say for example, I would like to mention since tomorrow will be the start of the flare, if you wanted to flex your reverse engineering, malware analysis, forensics skills, tomorrow is the day for the flare 2020. So use the Kappa, which is the recently tools that they've used, just to have an understanding of the behavior, that the MITRE ATT&CK framework. That's one. Okay, you could download that one. It's pretty easy to use. And then you could also use another one to check the PE imports or the API functionalities of a certain artifacts, or I call it artifacts for the sample file or malware. If you see, usually you will see the kernel, right? The kernel DLL. So what's most of those kernel DLLs that you could use or import here in your YARA rule. So now, I would say the most commonly used is the create mutex, right? Mutex, mutual execution. So for the sake of time, I'll not be elaborating more of those, but I want you to, that's your assignment, research more. Why is it most of the malware have this create mutex A, create mutex, EXW, or those kind of combinations. So create mutex is the keyword. And then in kernel 32.dll, again, there is, we call it the get module, right? Get module, virtual alloc, virtual free, those kind of stuff. So now, if you are a malware analyst and reverse engineer, it's time for you to use those, that what you keep on seeing. Put it in the YARA rule, put it just a simple one-liner, all of them. P imports kernel 32 DLL, the function or, and then the or, and the or, and then so until you satisfy, right, one of them. If satisfied on that condition, you will be able to catch the culprit, the malware. Okay. And there's another one, the entropy. Research further, why is it malware, most of the malware, I would say, not really all, okay, but most of them, the entropy is at least 6.8, right? So if you could see here in my sample, it's just 6.5, just to be sure. And you would lessen if you run this, and again, when you use YARA rule, your SIM should be able to support this. And then your EDR solution, which is $1 million solution, they call themselves #1 EDR in the market, right? You should be able to use this one. If not, just send them and then send them your YARA rule and then let them the threat hunting. But it's boring job, right? It's just giving them the hot potato is not our job. It's supposed to be, let's do the threat hunting. And question is how much is if the false positive. There are some when I tested this one, there are some false positive that okay, this one is not really a malware, but at least if you have this like thousands of files in your laptop, if like in 512 gigabytes of you have in your hard disk, or terabytes, there's many, right? But at least you do the elimination, right? If you get, like, for example, out of 1,000 files, you get a 50 or 20, that's enough. That is a good spot or starting point to start your threat hunting. Look at them, if you have for the sake of productivity, you want to run them in your Cuckoo sandbox, or in your, I would say, in your paid sandbox subscription, do that, right? So those were the things, how to analyze the behavior of or the patterns of our adversaries. Most of them are just the same, right? Good example is Netwalker, Maze. There are, there's another one, Doppelpaymer, and the other tools. Usually, they are crafted by different adversaries, but they have commonalities. They have common denominators. They are using same encryptor. You see, right? So it's just in just one encryptor. If you know that encryptor, you will not be dealing in just one types of ransomware. You're dealing with you will be catching like as what they've said, 2 birds in 1 stone, right? So use this, practice. It's it's not hard, right? There's just, again, you could use different tools to get this entropy. Use the detect it easy. For the imports, you could just use Windows if you're Windows lovers. If you're using Linux, you could there's an IDA free for Linux, and the Kappa that I've mentioned earlier, and then you don't even need to use a YARA generator, right? But if you are but again, it's up to you. But what I'm telling you is it's the easiest way, right? So there's supposed to be a demo, but unfortunately I could not use on this time, okay? But ping me on my LinkedIn, and I'm let's have a demo session, or I'll put it, ping me, and I'll put it in the YouTube. I'll make a video of of this presentation supposed to be, and then I'll send you the link, right? That's a deal. Okay, so Remnux is a reverse engineering malware Linux distribution. Kappa is for it's a newly created and awesome tool created by the Flare team from FireEye. Yargen, okay, by the good guy Florian, and then the one that I mentioned, the IDA free, right, for Linux operating system, which you could install it in your Remnux. So okay, let's go to the formula number 2. Nowadays, there's already, an unstoppable convergence of the IT and the OT, right? But I'm not gonna be discussing about the OT today. I'll be showing on the IT side. So we have talked about threat hunting, active threat hunting earlier. So now the formula 2 is a offensive defense. It means that, that's why I call it the deception tool. So deception tool, okay, there's one question from, when I demonstrate this one a few days back, there's one question that how is it this tool become deception? How it deceived or trick, right, the adversary? So this tool is like you're assuming that, okay, this is a reverse honeypot, right? Reverse honeypot, usually we know later on my slide, I'll show you the old school honeypot. Now this honeypot, this deception tool, okay, it's designed inside our VLAN. It's no longer outside. It's no longer on before the demilitarized zone. It's just this time you are assuming that insider threat. That's one assumption, that you have an insider threat. Second is you've already been breached. You're assuming that you've already been breached, and you wanted to lessen the dwell time, right? You want to detect your breach capabilities. So now, use case. This is the cost of a global data breach. That was 2019, and for in 2020, you would top up another 150 million US dollars from this 2.1 trillion US dollars. So this is very, I would say, a good additional tool for your defense in depth, for your security posture. Why? It's because it accelerates the breach detection, as what I mentioned earlier. It's a slow down attack. It means that if you have been constantly attacking or being attacked, so it once your adversary has logged into this, this is actually a virtual machine, right? The deception tool. So once your adversary logged in, it will trap them on that environment. They will not be able to log out. Okay, whatever whatever they type, whatever if they are trying to do a jump on the other, do a lateral movement, they have already been trapped on that VM. They will not be able to exit, because later I'll be going on that one. Scalable, because again this is a VM that you would want to deploy in your environment, right? And as many as you want. And then detection is pretty fast. And again, I mentioned this about trapping your advanced persistent threats. So now you are no longer dealing with just an IOCs, right? You're dealing with the behavior, with the actual attack, with this is their tactics, techniques, and procedures. You're just sitting down in your monitoring board and just waiting for someone to you're just waiting for an alert that somebody is brute forcing, somebody is doing a mass scan, nmap inside your network, or doing something bad, right? And this is a true challenge. Correct me if I'm wrong, and probably you have the worst, or you have much worse than this one. You don't have the 100% network visibility on the threats, anomalous activity. Why? How many of you have an NDR aside from the EDR? Okay. EDR is focused on the endpoint, right? So that's why most of the anomalous activity that you will be seeing is based from the endpoints. But that's why it's endpoint detection and response. But how about for the network visibility, for the network anomalous activity? Do you have an IDS inside, or just or just focus on the coming from the external traffic? But once it gets in, do you have a visibility of your network traffic, right? Do you have intrusion prevention system on inside? So mostly you don't have, and this is the use case of the network detection and response. But there is a options for that one, SIEM, right? So, but again, SIEM is a Google of all logs. The logs that they're correlating and sending to the main log aggregator and to your dashboard, right? It's just based on the traffic from the endpoints again, and from other logs, but there is not on the network, right? On the internal network per se. So that's one challenge of the security operations. Huge data to correlate during threat hunting, right? Yes, we have this MITRE ATT&CK framework, but once, have you seen the MITRE ATT&CK framework? Do you have any idea where to start with, right? From reconnaissance, from lateral movement, data exfiltration, evasion, up to the last level, command and control. So when you do threat hunting, do you really know where to focus on those one, or you just end up with the and you just get a coffee and then wait for you think again and until you already forgot. So this one is just it's a sitting duck inside your VLAN. You're waiting for someone to to get inside, brute force it, and and be deceived by this deception tool. And then of course you have this overwhelming false positive alerts, right? And this one you should not be wrong. Why? The question is, you've seen a brute force, you have seen a try login, right? Whether it's failed or whether it's successful, because of course you don't need a very complex password for your deception tool. You just need a very password 123, something like that, that they would be easy to to hack the system, because that's the objective of deception tool. Now once they log in, that's the question. Hey, why is this guy is trying to log in on this deception tool, right? And when you check, this guy is from finance, so that's already a there's already something false there, meaning something is not right. So probably the finance guy AD account has already been compromised, right? So the false positive alerts will be very less or close to zero. And then you have SOC team that have limited resources to do an incident response or even threat hunting. So this is a good use case, right? 204 dwell time 2018, it lessened on 2019 54 dwell time according to this the MITRE attacks, or the Mandiant publication early 2020. So again, the question is, how many days today is the dwell time, right? So if you have been, if you have experienced breach, you could answer that one. Okay, so this is the objective of deception tool, which is I already mentioned to you earlier. So I would like to recommend use the Honey Drive VM, right? Use the Honey Drive VM, which already composed of this Kipo SSH deception. So that VM, right? That over Honey Drive, it's already designed for a deception tool or honeypot. If you are an OT, use the conpot, CONPOT conpot, right? Have you heard that? Using the Honey Drive itself, it's pretty easy to deploy, right? But this at this point of time, I would like to discuss about Kipo, which is an SSH honeypot. So this is, let's say for example, you don't have deception tool and the attacker is already inside. Imagine this, a lateral movement, right? Going to your IT. If you don't have network segmentation, it will go straight to your OT servers, right? And that's bad. You WannaCry, for example, WannaCry ransomware just uses a vulnerable unpatched SMB, right? So if you don't have network segmentation between your IT and the OT side, your operations will go down. So again, let's talk about the old school honeypot. This is what I've already mentioned earlier, and probably most of you already know this one, and probably you already have WAF, yeah, right? You already using WAF, the web application firewall. So most of us probably not. We are no longer using this one. Somehow others are still using, right? Let's say for example Sudan. So if you go to Sudan, you will always see this. They have honeypot, and then they will catch like 0 days C2s or 0-day malware, those kind of stuff, which is cool, right? But most of the companies now are no longer using this one because of, we're already using WAF. So, but it's not bad, old school is still good, right? It's all but good. And again, this is a high level of the architectural design, which I mentioned earlier that you could put this one in your internal VLAN, same VLAN as your laptop environment, where you plug inside your office, your boss lab VLAN. If you have like micro segmentation with against your IT VLAN, you have IT VLAN, you have finance VLAN, you have HR VLAN, you have this developers VLAN, whatever, and you have VLAN for your printers. You could put there, at least I would say, deploy a 200 plus honeypot, right, or deception technology in your, or VM in your environment. So just to be sure that you will catch the hackers on their tactics, techniques, and procedure. Remember, the top of the pyramid of pain. That's our focus, right? So now with a deception tool, once they able to log in your Kipo or the SSH honeypot internal, they will not be able to do a lateral move again. And as what I mentioned earlier, they will not be even able to log out, because once they log out, they try to do some commands, they're actually dealing with a fake operating system. So imagine the onion ring, right? So the onion, once you peel it, there's a different layers. So they thought that they're already on the balloon layer or ball layer, but actually they're on the onion layer. So if they try to do something, they will not be able to do. They thought that they're doing SSH, they're exiting, but actually they keep on just exited, but nothing's happening because they are inside the operating system, the fake operating system, which it does not recognize those commands. They tried to do start services. They tried to execute their 0 days malware. They tried to whatever they wanted to do. Plus, you know, so in having that said, it means that it has a built-in firewall. It's using IP tables, but for the sake of additional protection and compliance, you may want to add an additional firewall rule just in case that, okay, this this honeypot or this deception tool should not be able to to make an outside communication, right? So just to be sure, and same with if you will be using the conpat that I mentioned earlier for your operational technology or ICS SCADA, it's the same concept, right? So this is the sample dashboard of the Kipo, which you will be able to see the graph if you wanted to put this in your monthly reporting on your threat landscape. You will be able to see whatever password they use, how many times they keep on trying brute forcing, and you will be even replay the commands that they have executed inside the VM or this Kipo. So it's fun seeing them what they're doing inside. So that's again we are dealing with the tactics, techniques, and procedure, right? We are no longer dealing with the IOCs. So pros and cons, we will not be talking about pros. There's so many to mention, right? But cons is, since this is free and open source, use it at your own risk and maintain it. So I would say, yeah, this is just the cons that I could see, but it's not really that cons because it's pretty easy. So conclusion is, how many people should be able to do this? One person that could understand or has had a basic understanding on Linux operating system, it's pretty easy, pretty fast. Even a fresh graduate could do this one. It could be integrated in the SIEM. Just get the logs. Remember the meaning of SIEM, the Google of all logs, right? So and how many deception tool or VM you should be able to a must that you would be able to catch a culprit, or how many deployments that you may need to deploy. I would say it depends on your environment, but at least 200 VMs, virtual machines, on your ESXi host, and this is pretty much like just 512 megabytes, or just one, let's say for example, one gig per each VM. And if you have like terabyte, what is 200 gig on the terabyte? So just to be sure that you will catch those adversaries that we have. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and again, welcome to the quantum leap of the pyramid of pain. So I would like to check if there are some questions. Is there any questions that I have? All right. Any questions? I could not see it here. If you have any question, or okay. So yeah, I think you have my LinkedIn. let's connect there, and whatever question that you have, I could not see it here, but if you have other question, please feel free. Okay. Right, I could not see any question, but let's connect on LinkedIn. My name Art Rebultan, and thank you so much. Stay safe, folks. And last word is, let's make our adversaries' life more harder. Right? Thank you so much.